The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed in this podcast belong solely to those expressing them and do not necessarily reflect the OSIP Foundation Incorporated or any other group or individual. This podcast may contain dialogue or subject material that could be considered for mature audiences only. All aspects of how you play the game and the OSIP Foundation Incorporated are protected by copyright and other state and federal intellectual property laws. Unauthorized use without the express written consent of the OSIP Foundation Incorporated is strictly prohibited. If you're interested in sponsoring How You Play the Game, please email us at podcast@osipfoundation.org. Your sponsorship may be tax deductible. Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of How You Play the Game, the official podcast of the OSIP Foundation Incorporated. Yours truly, Jack Furlong, with you as we talk about what's going on as far as the world of sportsmanship is concerned. This is the second episode of the month of November. The year is 2025. As always, check us out online at osipfoundation.org. If you'd like to contact the show, please use the email address podcast@osipfoundation.org. On the socials at facebook.com/osipfoundation, X and Instagram at osipfoundation, hashtag how you play the game. I'm recording this one a little early for the mid-month release just because I'm going to be away. So if this seems like the timing is a little out of place, that is by design, shall we say. I wanted to spend a couple of moments talking about the World Series. Dodgers won in 7 games. My original pick was Dodgers in 5. I did not think that the Blue Jays were going to have the intangibles that the Dodgers somehow find every time they get to the postseason right now. I think that Game 3 kind of threw a lot of that off because it went 18 innings. So I consider the pick still kind of good, but at the same time, I did not have a rooting interest. When people asked me who I wanted to win, I said, I'm watching the umpires. So in reflecting on this, I realized that since I don't have a dog in the fight, I kind of have a very interesting perspective that I can share regarding this World Series. So I came up with a list of the 10 things to take away from this World Series. And it kind of encapsulates sportsmanship as well as everything else. So without further ado, here are the 10 things that I believe that we can take from the 2025 World Series. Number 1, we got our money's worth, okay? This was a 7-game series, and we got 2 games for the price of 1 in Game 3, going 18 innings. Each game had its own storyline, had its own drama, had its own excitement. We were glued to this, okay? I'm a Yankees fan. I equally am not rooting for the Dodgers or the Blue Jays, and yet I'm tuning in, okay? We got every single bit of value that we could for this World Series. And this will be a classic World Series for some time, okay? As the years go on, we'll remember this one. Point number 2, good sportsmanship was on display, okay? If you didn't hear about this, Alex Vesia, who is a reliever for the Dodgers, was left off the World Series roster due to a personal, private, family issue that was deemed very serious. And when you think about something like this and how it would require you to not play in the World Series, to miss the World Series, it just speaks to the fact that some things in life are bigger than baseball. The Dodgers placed the number 51, which is Vesia's jersey number, on the side of their caps to honor their teammate. When the Blue Jays bullpen caught wind of this, they followed suit. They came out and said, yeah, Vesia's situation is bigger than baseball. And the Dodgers, members of the Dodgers, used the media positively to make it known that they noticed it and that they appreciated it. You know, we sometimes talk about how sometimes the media, you know, can be used inappropriately. Players, personnel can use it as a tool or a weapon, not for the greatest of things. We're all, you know, I think a lot of people are guilty of that, regardless when they use the media for that. This was an example of trying to really spread a good message. So it's important that we note that. Okay. Point number 3, good sportsmanship was also tacitly on display. Okay. There were a couple of moments that did not get caught by the cameras or were not highlighted that probably need a good pat on the back. The one that did may start to make the rounds a little bit was in Game 7, where Yoshinobu Yamamoto, pitcher for the Dodgers, who ended up winning the World Series MVP. So this is a dude who threw a complete game in Game 2, threw, I believe, 6 innings and around 100 pitches in Game 6. And then the next day, on no day's rest, comes out and hurls almost 3 innings in Game 7 in extra innings. Can you believe that? He comes out, he's on the mound. Vlad Guerrero of the Blue Jays comes up to the plate to face him late in the game, tips his cap, and Yamamoto tips it back. Like that is a quiet moment of respect that we need to highlight. Another moment that I caught in Game 7, there was that moment where the bench is cleared, and it was much ado about nothing, obviously, but John Schneider, manager of the Blue Jays, was out at first base checking on the batter who had just gotten hit, and he's got his arms around him just checking, and then standing right next to him is Freddie Freeman, first baseman of the Dodgers. And after Schneider's checking with his player, he turns to Freddie, and he's making amends there, and he's patting him, and they're kind of exchanging pleasantries very, very nicely to make sure that they all understood, hey, yeah, listen, we get it. It's Game 7. Everything is tense. There's no ill will. Blah, that's an important moment. Okay. So we did get some of that. Point number 4, the key play of Game 7 was a slide. All right. A lot of people were making a huge talking point about Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. How in, I believe it was the 10th inning, with the bases loaded and less than 2 outs, he's on third. They believe, the critics are saying he didn't get a good lead and a good secondary lead. And then when a ground ball is hit to second baseman Miguel Rojas, who stumbles, yet still has the ability to field that ground ball and throw home for a force out. That's the winning run of the World Series. And IKF does not score it. It turns out to be a literal game of inches. It's a force play. It's the ball beat him into Will Smith's mitt as the catcher, who has his foot on the plate before IKF touches it. And what happens is IKF slides in. Now, that's an instinct, okay? Much like how some of the things that they probably discussed while at third can be instincts as well. In my opinion, as a baseball lifer, that's a situation where IKF, as the runner, needs to know, maybe through the help of the third base coach, I don't know, that he's got to run through the plate. For the same reason that we don't slide into first base. If we slid into first base, runners who run marathons would slide into the finish line. You slow down when you slide. We run through first base. In this situation, I think we got to do a little bit more in remembering you have to run through the plate because it's the winning run of the World Series. It has to, and if people are worried about blocking the plate, remember, the rules on blocking the plate specifically say ground ball to the infield with the infield in, no blocking the plate. The rule does not apply. You can literally truck the catcher at that point if you have to. I don't necessarily endorse it, but when you consider it is the winning run of the World Series, we have to take a step back and realize I got to score here. I can't do anything that would cause me to slow down. Point number 5, bad sportsmanship was on display after Game 7. I'm sure that there were threats all around in different areas, but the biggest report that we got was that IKF, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, was threatened himself. He was threatened, his family was threatened, etc., because he did not score that run. I don't know if Jeff Hoffman, who was the pitcher in the 9th inning to give up the game-tying home run to Miguel Rojas, got threatened or not. I would imagine in an imperfect world such as ours, maybe he did, but that story did not get reported the way that IKF's story did. So right off the bat, we gotta say it. We can't be threatening players. We can't be threatening players' families because they did not score the winning run of the World Series. Enough said there. Point number 6. The in-game interviews have got to stop. All right, we've all seen it, regular season, postseason, etc., where correspondents or broadcasters or sideline reporters are talking in the middle of the game with uniformed personnel. You could make an argument for it in the regular season. It's got to stop in the postseason. Postseason baseball is a different game. It is played and it is managed differently. Regular season baseball is a marathon that we know and love and is handled a very specific way. The postseason is a tournament, a sprint of a tournament that has to be handled differently. You've just worked 6 months of the regular season, and now you've got a quick sprint in a month to work a completely different way. You have to be on your game as a manager, as a player. So to have, a member of the media interviewing you in the middle of the game, it's no good. No good. We got to stop with that. Point number 7. The halftime show does not help. During Game 2 of the World Series, baseball held its usual Stand Up to Cancer event and punctuated it with a concert by the Jonas Brothers. Okay? Hot take here. Standing up to cancer is as useless as the ice bucket challenge. Rather than doing these things, why don't we actually try and fix the issue rather than demonstrate that we don't like it? Spoiler alert, nobody likes cancer. Nobody. I'd like to meet the person who says, "Oh, I've got cancer? All right." No. Nobody likes cancer. Standing up to cancer does not fix cancer. Throwing money at the problem is the closest that we have right now. And if you're going to make the argument that Stand Up to Cancer is about raising awareness that we need to throw more money at the problem, see, to me, that's as useless as saying I'm going to raise awareness for ALS with the Ice Bucket Challenge. No, you didn't actually help. Donate money. Donate your time. Donate something that will actually advance the tangible fight to end these diseases. Just stop with this stuff. It is useless. Do something. And if your argument, again, is that, well, what I'm doing is I'm raising awareness. Awareness is an intangible that does not help. Do something to fix the problem. Point number 8. You got to feel for Don Mattingly. Bench coach of the Toronto Blue Jays. My idol growing up, Donnie Baseball, the captain, number 23 of the New York Yankees. Boy, did he deserve a World Series ring. Player, coach, manager, he should have won more rings. And you wonder if he had a ring, would that push him into being guaranteed to get into the Hall of Fame? And there are rumors that this was it. He's now retiring. He's done. I really feel for the dude. Now, granted, this is the same dude who a couple of years ago when I was in Tampa trying to get his autograph, he walked right by me because I was not a kid. But You still feel for him. Point number 9. The rules. Our concerns about them. Criticisms of umpires. We got to move on. Here's what we learned with regarding the rules and enforcement thereof. Kind of a couple of bullet points here. Number 1. You know that extra inning rule in the regular season where we start the inning with a runner on second base? That's got to go. We got a classic in Game 3. I guarantee you the number of games that change because of the extra inning rule, very, very small percentage. Because most of these teams in the regular season, when that rule is in effect, they're not bunting the runner over and then using a sac fly to get him in. They're still playing it per normal. So the rule is useless. Why do we have it? It doesn't make any sense anymore. It's time for that to go. If we were concerned about pace of play and game times and whatnot, we fixed that with the pitch clock. The players have adapted beautifully. We gotta get rid of this rule. The regular season of baseball cannot have this rule anymore. In my opinion, it's got to go. Secondly, we cannot legislate in the intentional walks of Shohei Ohtani. There's a big talking point again about how the Blue Jays just keep walking him. You can't legislate that. You can't force a pitcher to throw strikes. That's part of the game. You want to go back to having to make the pitcher throw the 4 intentional balls outside? You can make that argument. But if the Blue Jays want to walk him, let the Blue Jays walk him. We can't legislate that. Interestingly enough, a point was raised, and I had to stop and think about it. So in baseball now, at the major league level, they have what we informally call the Shohei Ohtani rule, which is the pitcher/DH rule. This is a rule that was used in college baseball. It was then adapted and adopted in high school baseball, and now it has made its way into Major League Baseball. The rule essentially, when it first began in college, is that there are a lot of cats who are one of the best hitters on their team who happen to also be the pitcher. Well, if you don't start the game with a designated hitter, when that pitcher comes out, he's not hitting anymore. So they wanted to say, well, how do we keep that guy's bat in the game even though he's done pitching? So when they created the pitcher/DH rule, what that means is that when the team is on offense, that player is the designated hitter. And when that team is on defense, that player is the pitcher. So that essentially, if the pitcher gets removed as pitcher, he remains in the game as a designated hitter, and all pitchers who come in after that are not batting. They did the same thing in high school, but instead of a pitcher/DH, they made it a player/DH. So you can use that really anywhere on the field. Well, they adopted that in Major League Baseball specifically for two-way players. And who's a two-way player? There's one dude in all of Major League Baseball. That's Shohei Ohtani. So we have adopted a rule for one cat. Interesting, right? Talk about really trying to give somebody an advantage. And the final thing I'm going to say about the rules and whatnot. Boy, did we get a great series from our umpiring crew. Every single call they nailed. They got I'm sure there were a couple overturned via replay, but man, they were really good. The ground rule double in Toronto in Game 6, beautiful. Beautiful. They were fantastic. And out of the 7 umpires, 4 of them were debuting in the World Series. They were working their first World Series. Amazing. Amazing. What a great job by these gentlemen. We got to stop with this umpire hate. We have everything we need now to help these cats, and we're going to get even more with the ABS challenge system. These guys are great. My hat's off to them. And the final point I'm going to make, point number 10, baseball is amazing. We got a lot of people who complain that the sport is boring. We got people saying that it's broken, and especially predicting that we're going to have a work stoppage after the 2026 season. To anyone who's really down on baseball, let me just tell you something real quick. Rethink this. Baseball is the greatest sport in human history, and it is thriving. The beauty of this game, it is the perfect mix, 50% each, of the individual and the team accomplishments. It's the only sport where the offense does not control the ball. It's poetic and romantic. It is a game of series, not one-offs. Equal parts brains and brawn. It's a chess match. It's a game of inches. It's a game of failure. It's a game we can play every single day. Baseball's amazing. And boy, did we show it to the world in this World Series. We got ourselves a classic. And we got ourselves something that gave us a lot on which we can chew, especially in the world of sportsmanship. And you look at the things that happened outside of the actual game. When you look at the umpires, when you look at the sportsmanship of having a player miss because of a personal family matter, or threats against a family and a player, and this, that, we got a lot on our plate. This one's going to go down as a good one. We're going to remember this. So I want to thank everybody for joining us again on this episode. As always, check us out online at osipfoundation.org. The address is podcast@osipfoundation.org, facebook.com/osipfoundation, X and Instagram @osipfoundation, hashtag how you play the game. We'll talk to everybody in December. Oh my God, I can't believe it's going to be December. And until then, treat each other with respect. How You Play the Game is a production of the OSIP Foundation, Incorporated. The producer-engineer of this episode is Sean Ryan. Music by Soundspring Studio. The executive producer of How You Play the Game is Jack Furlong. For more information, visit osipfoundation.org.